Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome to the official start of the Child's Play Revisited series, or Chucky Revisited series, whatever. I think I just call it Chucky Revisited because, well, the entire series. This is Child's Play Revisited, but for the playlist, Chucky Revisited is what I'll call it. So, yeah. So, before I get started, for the five of you that watched it, you might be saying, hey, didn't you already do a Child's Play Revisited 5 months ago? And before this morning, I would have said, huh? What are you talking about? No, I didn't. Well, upon looking up my videos to see what the thumbnails were, so I didn't choose the same ones, although I did have a different idea for the thumbnails afterwards, as you'll see. I realized that 5 months ago, in February, I did a Child's Play Revisited video. And then it all started to come back to me that I was planning on doing more, just continuing on this year and whatnot. Well, then this happened. I got the shirt, and it came in a box, and I have a pretty cool display here. Pretty kick-ass background, So I decided I deleted that video. So if you're trying to find the one from 5 months ago, it's not there. I deleted it so I could restart here. So we're going to talk about the first Child's Play movie in this video. Okay? I like this background. Yeah. I worked hard on that. Whole 5 minutes. Didn't take much, but it was. Look at that. That is cool. Now for me to cover it up with my face. So, Child's Play, released in 1988, was the start of this franchise. And for some reason, I think it is the most ignored in this franchise. A lot of people like Child's Play 2. Now, there is a reason why it's ignored, because it's now owned by Universal Pictures. So a lot of the plot elements and stuff are generally ignored, except for the voodoo and some of the characters. But I've mentioned this before in other videos, but like the TV series has sort of retconned certain things from this movie. I mean, Curse of Chucky did it first, which we'll talk about in this video and in that video. And then the show retconned it. I talked about it in my reviews of the seasons. I haven't done a complete season review for season 3 yet. I got the DVD now, so maybe I'll check that out and I'll put that on as a little asterisk for this. I don't know, but I'm not gonna go back through the TV series in there. I reviewed each episode, but I think to do a whole season review, or that will be pertinent. But anyway, so starting out with the opening of this film, we start in Chicago, Illinois, home of the Bulls, the Blackhawks, and CM Punk. In 1988, we start off, and Charles Lee Ray is running down the street from a policeman by the name of Prince Humperdinck. No, it's Detective Mike Norris, of course, played by Chris Sarandon. Of course, Charles Lee Ray, played by the one and only Brad Dourif, who retired from all the roles except for Chucky. Thank you. We still need him for Chucky. So, although I imagine once Chucky is done, he'll say, I'm just done, But, yeah. So this opening has gotten new context twice. So, when I was younger, growing up, you always wonder, was he running from? How did this happen? What was the inciting incident? Well, in Curse of Chucky, we find out that supposedly Nika's mom called the cops on him, and now he's on the run. Okay, that's well enough, right? Eddie Caputo's a little mixed up there, but he could still be around, I guess. But then they retconned it again, sort of. I mean, they never officially confirmed that Nika's mom called the cops because she never said, yes, I did. But in the show, in Chucky, in season 1, during the flashbacks, it's revealed that Tiffany was the one who called the cops on him. And that completely confuses Eddie Caputo, who is not ignored because he's mentioned during the flashbacks in season 1. So, where's he coming? The only thing I could think of is that during that flashback, he has an argument with Tiffany and takes off. Tiffany calls Mike Norris and gives a hint to where he's going, which means that she has to know where Nika's mom lives, I guess, and knows that he has her tied up, which is also confusing that they're together at this point. I mean, we know they're supposed to be together, which was already confusing when they showed that scene, but, because, when Curse of Chucky came out, it was questionable whether or not it took place within the canon of the rest of the series, or it was kind of like a reboot, just because when that came out, I should be discussing this in that video, it was somewhat hinted that it was going to only be after the events of the first 3 Child's Plays and ignore the rest, because that's when the franchise was good, I guess. It wasn't, but that also brought into question Tiffany. Where was she at this point? Because they were supposedly together when he got captured, right? Because she found the ring, which was not shown in the TV series. And also, I just thought of that, because she says, and this is way analyzing too much, but she says that she thought that Charles was going to propose to her with that ring. If she thought that, why would she call the cops? Because they had an argument? I don't know. But yeah, so my process is that Tiffany calls the cops. He goes to see Nika's mom. The cops show up. He runs off, finds a payphone, calls Eddie Caputo to meet him. And when Eddie Caputo gets there, he's like, nah, fuck this, and leaves. Because that's exactly what he does here. So that's what it would seem. Without all that context, though, it appears as if it is a crime gone wrong. Which is not really a criminal, he's a murderer, but still, So, 8 minutes into this review, I'm not talking about this. So, he runs into the store, he finds the good guy doll, and so nonchalantly, I always love when he does this thing. Oh, God, I'm dying. Not much, but then he's like, I gotta find somebody. I gotta find someone. I gotta find somebody. Finds the good guy doll, does the voodoo, lightning strikes, and then Norris finds his body dead. We cut to another confusing scene, because this has always confused me. We meet Andy Barclay, 7-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old. It's his birthday, 6-year-old, 7-year-old Andy Barclay. Played by Alex Vincent, who did not have any acting skills here, but he tries. He tries. He's fixing breakfast for his mom, who is still asleep. And he's also watching The Good Guys TV show. This has always confused me, especially when I became an adult, and I was like, wait, how does this work? So he's making the breakfast. He hears the noise, and he hears something on TV and goes to check it out. He's like, oh, I saw this one. And then he sees the commercial for the doll, and immediately freaks out. The reaction that he gives here is the reaction of someone who has never seen this before. Like, this is a big thing that there's a doll. It's a big thing. He then looks at his presents that he has, all 2 of them. She's on a budget. I get it. The 2 presents that he's got, and thinks, oh, my mom must have got me one. But according to that scene, that's the reaction. That's the first time that he's seen it. So why would she know? We later find out that she does know. He did tell her, but the bitch gives her clothes in the big box. That's a tease, woman. No offense to Karen Barclay. She's a fantastic mother, but come on. You got this big box and it's full of clothes. That is just me. And then the little box is the toy. When you're a kid, you see the big box, you're like, oh, look at what toy is in there, and it's clothes. That is mean, and she should be reported for that. That is mean, but no. No, this and the little toy is the good guy tool kit that he uses later. And yes, she says, I know you wanted the doll, but I couldn't afford it. And I'm just like, but again, the scene earlier indicates that it was the first time he's ever seen it. He's like, wow. Unless he does that every time he sees the freaking commercial. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. By the way, the giant ass Chucky mascot is voiced by John Franklin, who we know is Isaac from Children of the Corn. Yeah. So then we fast forward to Karen is at work. Her friend, played by Dinah Manoff, Maggie, shows up and tells her, hey, that doll you're looking for, there's a peddler outside, he's selling it. So they go out there, this homeless guy is selling it, and he sells it to her, and she gets back in, and her boss, Walter, the dick, is like, basically, he's like, did I tell you can leave your station? He's like, oh, I had to buy something for my son for his birthday. We have breaks set up for that. And he's like, I need you to work tonight. And she's like, well, it's my son's birthday. And he basically is like, I don't fucking care. I don't know why I have him gay. I don't know. I don't fucking care. You're working tonight. Is basically what he says. And when Maggie tries to work, no, you're not in this department. You're in the other department. And so, yeah. And the only reason why Karen has to work is so that we can have Maggie get killed. That is the only reason why. Otherwise, this whole scene is not necessary to me. But she's able to go home for some reason and bring the doll to him. He's happy. And yeah, he pulls it out of the box and immediately starts talking to it, which is what you don't do. Because, I mean, there are times, I mean, on the box it says batteries included. So you think it must be inside. A lot of times you get toys, there are batteries inside, but you would change them. But even if you're not sure, wouldn't you check to see if there's batteries? I bring this up because it's very important later on. It is. But, yeah, so yeah. So, she goes back to work, and Aunt Maggie is watching him, and then she says that it's time for bed, so he goes to brush his teeth. And I'm sorry, whenever I see him brush his teeth now, thanks to Dead Meat's video, I don't know if it was the recount or the original one, but he's like, mad dog. I can't stop laughing at that. Mad dog. I think it was the recount, because the original one he was, all about counting the kills, and now he's more into talking about stuff. But like, yeah, Aunt Maggie, Chucky wants to watch the 9 o'clock news. Just that line delivery always makes me laugh. But yeah, and then we see Aunt Maggie get killed. She gets hit with a little hammer, which I've always thought that's weird. Like, they gave him, is an actual hammer? Like it's real. What kind of tools are they giving these kids in this tool set? It's a real hammer? There's no way a little plastic hammer knocked her ass out a window. Yes, later Andy says that she was scared. So, like, when he went to do it, she freaked out. It jumped. When you jump, you don't have enough propulsion to knock yourself out a freaking window like that. There's no way. She had to have been hit and knocked full force, which a lot of people have questioned how is Chucky that strong. Well, the TV series confirms that the power of Damballa gives you strength. So, yeah. Although I don't think it was fully fleshed out here because Don Mancini infamously did not like the voodoo aspect. That was something that Tom Holland, director of this, and not Spider-Man, but director Tom Holland added in post. Or added after the initial script that Mancini had written. He didn't like it, but he kept going with it. We'll discuss more about the voodoo stuff later. But yeah, so then after her death, we cut to Karen coming home, and she's waving at someone on a bus for some reason. Again, Dead Meat pointed this out, and now I can't stop seeing it. Who is she waving to? She comes in, and they try to stop her. She knows no one stops her, actually. And I love how she walks in, and the cops just sitting on a couch, feet up, reading a newspaper. What cops are these? Are the cops in Chicago that relaxed? That you're just going to do that? I don't know. But we meet Detective Mike Norris here for the first time after the explosion. She meets him for the first time, I guess I should say. And he said that tells what happened, and I don't know who did it. And there's little footprints. And it's revealed that the clothes that Andy are wearing are pajamas. And there's also pajama shoes, PJ sneakers. Who sleeps in sneakers? I know it's because in movies and TV show, everyone has to wear shoes everywhere. You can't have people bare feet or in stocks, even though it makes a lot more sense. You ever notice that in TV shows, people are at home just hanging out and they got shoes on? No one does that. No one, and I repeat, no one just sits around their house with their shoes on. Unless they're getting ready to go somewhere. Or they forgot to take their shoes off. But it's in TV shows, and for some reason I'm picturing the Thundermans in my head, I don't know why, but in TV shows, they just walk around with their shoes on all the time. And I know it's because it's more convenient for the actors to do that, not to put the shoes on here and there, but it's always been confusing me when they do that. And so they have the PJ sneakers, which no one would ever wear. Yeah. And of course, Andy sees that Chucky has the flower on his shoes. And so he says it's Chucky. But they don't believe him. So the next day on Bring Your Good Guy Doll to School Day, apparently, because everyone is doing it, Andy and Chucky ditch and they go on a bus to the homeless district, apparently, of Chicago. I don't doubt there is one, but I don't know. Because Chucky's going after Eddie Caputo. But Andy has to go tinkle, so he puts Chucky in a rocking chair and Chucky takes off. And he blows up Eddie Caputo in his house. I love this though because it's so stupid in a way because you see him turn on the things, right? Turn on the gas, whatever. And then Eddie opens the door, fires the gun, and then just cuts to explosion. I mean, you hear Andy running around, Chucky, and it's just like, I don't know. Also, we find out later that Chucky was Charles Lee Ray's nickname, right? So Eddie Caputo hearing the name Chucky, that wouldn't click that something's going on, right? But no. So Karen shows up at the police department and finds her son is there because he was around when the explosion happened. Didn't run away when the explosion, stuck around there, I guess. Didn't find another bus, didn't know. Chucky didn't say, hey, let's leave the fucking crime scene. No, it's convenient so that he's there and Karen's there. And I do like Mike's question. You didn't go to pick up your son from school? Why wouldn't you? Like, you've been told to come down to the police station, but wouldn't you go to pick up your son first? You come straight down to the police station? What if this wasn't about your son? What if this was another, to ask you a few questions about the other night? And then your son's at school going, Mom, waiting for you? I don't know. Again, convenience, right? So, and Andy is full said he's had enough. He's trying to tell them it was Chucky. Chucky won't speak. He's smacking the doll, saying to speak nothing. He said, uh, he told me not to tell anyone or he'd kill me. Well, so Karen takes the doll home because, yeah, the doll, which was at a crime scene and would clearly be evidence, can just be taken home. Something I never caught on to until recently. Not this watch, but like a couple watches ago. It's like there was a crime scene. Someone died. Someone was murdered, right? The doll has been at 2 separate crime scenes. That's evidence. And yet has to be taken home because we have to have the scene. The scene. Up to this point, it has been somewhat of a mystery as to what's going on. I mean, if you got brain one, you can figure out, yeah, it is the doll, you know. But it was supposed to be more ambiguous. And there is still some of that in the film, right? With the news stories of Charles Lee Ray running on the television, and he could have heard. I think I said this in my initial review, but I always thought it'd be cool that at the end it was revealed that Andy killed at least Aunt Maggie, right? But, you know, I can't, but you know. So Karen takes the doll home, and that's when she tries to get to talk. Doesn't, and then she goes to check the box, and the batteries fall out. Oh shit! So then she grabs the doll, she threatens to burn it, and that's when we get, you stupid bitch, you filthy slut, I'll teach you to fuck with me, and it bites her. Chucky runs off, and again, no, this is the cinema snob. It's Muppet Show, yay! Runs off, nah. Or no, that's Nostalgia Critic and Phaelus, never mind. But yeah, just runs off, leaves, just leaves. And again, the one aspect that I love in this movie that's not brought back in really in any other movies is that, and we find out later that the longer he stays in the doll, the more human he will become. So the more warped and disfigured his face becomes, more human-like it becomes. Chucky's final form before he gets set on fire is one of my favorite looks of Chucky that they never replicated. Everyone says, oh, Child's Play 2 Chucky is best. No. I mean, he's fine, but it's so cartoonish throughout the rest, especially when you get to, I mean, I think that Colt and Curse have the worst looking Chuckies. Curse is not bad, but Colt, were they even trying? And then the TV series brought it back. You know? The way it should. Child's Play 2 version of Chucky, but still. Yeah. So she finds Detective Norris somehow. And I think he's leaving the precinct. She tells him Chucky bit her. He doesn't believe her. And he's like, good night, Mrs. Barkley. And basically dismisses her. And then he's attacked by... No, not... Is it yet? Or not? No, she... No, this is where she says she's going to go find the homeless man. And then he follows her there. First of all, there's a homeless man by the store, who lives by the store that I work. He's like, you shouldn't go down that part of town this time of night. And I've always thought it was weird. How does he know where she works? We never see him conduct a full interview with her. Maybe he knows. Maybe Andy told him. I don't know. I guess he would have had to call her at work to get her to come down there. Yeah, and Andy's at a psychiatric hospital because they don't believe him. This old fuddy-duddy with big eyebrows came to talk to him. Yeah. So, So after Norris saves her from the homeless man from, for lack of a better term, groping her, we'll just say it that, you find out that he got the doll from the burnout toy store in Wabash, which, we don't go back to because they don't really have a burned up set. So, yeah. But she's still on, that it is Charles Lee Ray. So, but he's like, no, go home, Mrs. Barkley. And so he gets in the car and he's attacked by Chucky in his car. And I love how he just keeps on driving as if that will get him farther away from Chucky. Hey, Mikey! But yeah, and so he shoots him, which is something that, and it hurts. It hurts like a son of a bitch. It even bled, according to Chucky. And yeah, and then somehow Norris knows that Karen went to Chucky's house, which has a big mural of John, the witch doctor, on it. Now we're going to talk about the most ignored character in the whole Chucky franchise, John, the witch doctor. Okay? So we find out that this John guy is the person who taught Chucky Charles to do the voodoo. That aspect of the franchise has been completely retconned by the TV show. So, starting with Bride of Chucky, they introduced the Voodoo for Dummies book, which Tiffany used to learn voodoo to bring Chucky back. So, when they did the flashbacks in season 1 of Chucky, they showed Chucky, Charles Lee Ray, young Charles Lee Ray, but this age Charles Lee Ray, reading the Voodoo for Dummies book, which makes no sense because John is the one that taught him how to do the voodoo. They ignore stuff from this movie. They do. And it burns me up because this is my favorite one. I grew up with this, and they just keep retconning stuff. And I think it's because of the copyright situation. They can't use a lot of stuff, but if they can use Charles Lee Ray and Eddie Caputo and characters like Andy and Karen and Mike Norris, I'm sure we haven't seen Karen and Mike, but we've heard them mentioned, right? It was mentioned in the post-credit scene from Curse of Chucky. So you could use those characters in some way, shape, or form, but I don't know. I don't know. It just confuses me. So Chucky confronts the voodoo dog. He was like, I got shot. And you know something? It hurt. It hurt like a son of a bitch. It even bled. And listening to this conversation, it becomes clear that at this point, Brad Dourif didn't know how Chucky was going to talk because very much as the franchise evolves, Chucky becomes talking a sort of New York sort of accent when he talks. Here, it's very much just Brad Dourif talking. Normal, kind of sadistic kind of talking that comes out. Not any kind of accent or anything, just kind of like this. Hey, John. Amazing. Hey, John, what do you think? Huh? So he tortures John with the voodoo doll that John apparently has. And John tells him that the only way to become human again is to, and this is another thing that's worked on various times, is to switch bodies, to put your soul into the body of the first person you told who you are. So that's Andy. Yes, we get that line. I'm not going to say it because clipping is a thing, and I will not be clipped saying that, but he says the thing that is unfortunate. I'll say this. I'm going to be 6 years old again. Ha ha ha. I'll say that again. But I won't say the other thing. He kills John, and Norris and Karen arrive just in time for him to die. Before he does, he tells her that you have to shoot Chucky in the heart, something that they refuse to listen to for the entire climax of the fucking film. But we'll get there. Uh, yeah. So Andy's now at the mental health clinic. He tries telling the Dr. Eyebrows that Chucky is coming after him. He doesn't believe him. He's going to sedate him, but Chucky takes him down and electrocutes him to death, and he escapes. And we find out that he goes home whenever he needs to escape from somewhere, apparently. So he does. And then we get one of my favorite lines where Chucky, now transforming into a human looking doll, going up the elevator with an elderly couple. And the elderly woman goes, "Ugly doll." And then after they leave and the elevator starts going up, we hear, "Fuck you." I've always loved that. "Not now, Big LT. I am busy. I will call you back in 7 days. I'm going to see you tomorrow, but I'll call you back in 7 days." I should text him that. "Hey, I know you called me, but I'm going to call you back in 7 days. I'll see you tomorrow, but I won't call you back for 7 days." See what he says. I'm going to do that. "Would you please?" Thank you. I hate it when I can't see my face because I've gotten used to this, looking back at me. So, whenever someone calls, pops up, blocks my face. Anyway, so Karen and Norris arrives. Norris immediately gets taken out in the bedroom. He gets not the Achilles, but he gets his leg cut, and so he can't walk. I don't know. I never know. Apparently, he does call for backup because Detective Mario, yes, that is his name. Yes, he's called that because of his mustache. He shows up later. But anyway, so I do like, though, when Chucky is going after Andy, he hides, he jumps out. "Ah, it's Bryce!" Tries to swing the baseball bat at him, and then eventually knocks him out. Goes to do the voodoo thing, but Karen shows up and stops him. And then eventually they throw him in a fire. We get the line, "Andy, we're friends to the end. This is the end, friend." And they set him on fire. We get a great fire stunt. And you think it's over. They do these 3 times here. He gets killed. Think it's over. Nope. He gets back up. Karen shoots all the pieces. Think it's over. Dr. Mario comes in. Nope. Still alive. Then you shoot him in the heart. Something you should have done to begin with. You set him on fire. Even though he's turning more human, he's still able to survive that. He gets all the pieces shut off. Still able to survive that because the only thing that can stop him is shooting him in the heart. By the way, this is the only movie where that is a thing. Because he gets dismembered and stuff in the rest of the movies. He falls into a fan. He gets blown up in the Good Guy Doll Factory. I think he gets shot in Bride of Chucky. Dying. Such a bitch. But yeah. And but yeah, and so I do like the line because when Detective Mario comes in, that is his name. I swear it is. And he's like, "Hey, look, huh? I'll pretend that James Bond here. Look, it's nothing. It's just a head. Told you not to touch it. Look at it." And then the thing jumps out, starts choking him. And then at the end, he's like, "Do you believe me now?" "Yeah. Who's gonna believe me?" I don't know. 2 respectable cops. Their words don't mean shit, I guess. The ending is just kind of, it's weird. This movie has always had a weird ending to me, where they just go to leave the room. They shut the light off, they shut the door, and you see Andy just peek through the door, and it freeze frames and ends. That's it. Oh, he's dead, and then they leave. Oh, I forgot. "Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?" Which is the only time that it's said in this movie that everybody thinks that's the quote. No, it's, "Hi, I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end. Heidi ho, ha ha ha." By the way, the little kid voice was done by Edon Gross, who I've talked about on the channel recently in my Tubi Summer Spectacular. He played the son. Was it Best of the Best? I think it was Eric Roberts' son in Best of the Best. So, but yeah, So what I want to do is I want to put out a few awards here. Best kill. We'll go to Aunt Maggie. Clearly is the best. There's only a few kills here, technically. You got Charles Lee Ray. You got Aunt Maggie. You got Eddie Caputo. Eddie Caputo's is fine, but it's an explosion. You don't see anything. Charles Lee Ray's death is great, but the lead up to God, I'm dying. And it's not really a death to me. You know what I mean? So Aunt Maggie is the one, and it's a classic death. One-liner. My favorite one-liner from Chucky in this would be, fuck you, they says to the old lady going up the thing. No, it's not the line which I refuse to say. Stop it. It is funny to hear him say it, but it's something you just cannot say on YouTube because you'll get clipped and then it's out there that you said that, and I won't say it. So, yeah. But, yeah. And obviously this movie is going to the moon. Actually, I can do it. I have it here. To the moon. Damn it. To the moon. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's my favorite horror movie of all time. So, yeah, it's going to the moon. I love this movie. Despite my little nitpicks. There are little nitpicks. I can enjoy this movie. I can watch it. It's a comfort movie for me because there was one time we had a storm. The power went out. And I needed to calm down because it started, whatever. So I grabbed my portable DVD player, right? I put in Child's Play and I relaxed to it. It worked. I know it's weird. In that kind of situation, you put a horror movie on. Horror comforts me, especially this movie. So, yeah. So what are your thoughts on Child's Play? Leave them in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm the Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.